One of the other things you talk about, Michael, is this sovereign individual concept, or this
Yeah.
concept of freedom, which I didn't see coming. When we talked about this series 6 months ago, if you had told me there would be an episode on freedom and sovereignty, I would have maybe been surprised. Why was that important to tell that story? What did you learn? What do you see?
Yeah, absolutely. I see freedom. I mean, freedom is, it sounds dramatic. Freedom's under attack, right? And it's not like guys with guns gonna, kick your door in and take it. It's being done through bureaucracy, through mandates. It's being done through monetary policy, like you talked about, inflationary monetary policy. It's being done through censorship and propaganda and the fake news. That's probably a trigger word for some people. It's all being done. And honestly, like I said, I was in that place where I just left a position. I was really feeling introspective. I literally locked myself in this office right here for 60 days to decide. And I didn't really take a lot of phone calls. I just worked. And so I was in that position, right, where a lot of people were early last year, especially in America, where we just had the election fiasco, and like there's everybody's 100% convinced that they're right, right? Everybody's so convinced, and just like me, I'm no different than anybody. I'm no better. I have my confirmation bias, right? I want to believe what I want to believe. I like to go to the sources that tell me what I want to hear. Right. So, but somewhere in the middle of that, there's truth, right? And if we don't have that truth, it's really hard to make wise decisions and have full context. So that's part of it. But what I saw really with regards to freedom, right, is you see where there's all these middlemen and gatekeepers who have to give you the thumbs up, right? We could talk about the ex-convict, right? Someone who got busted selling marijuana in their, late teens, early 20s, got tried as an adult, as a felon, gets out, has a hell of a time getting a job, gets into a poverty cycle, feels like they don't have any upward mobility. The only thing they know and have been taught is to go back to that thing. And, you've got this repetitive cycle, right? But I think I'm following the wrong tangents.
Yeah,
But
well, you were talking about
mhm,
that concept of freedom, and again, the last few
freedom, yeah,
years, I think we've all started to really value our freedom,
yeah,
and you start to see that,
absolutely,
like you said, there's information, there's all sorts of ways of taking away some of your freedom, monetary policy, but then
yeah,
ultimately the money itself is one of those big things. I had Dan Held on the show a couple weeks ago, and he's one
mm,
of the early Bitcoin people, and he said, Brian, if you think about it, no other freedoms matter if you don't have financial freedom. He
yeah,
said, because you can have the freedom of speech, you can have this, but if you're actually controlled by the money, then that's the one that matters most. And it was a pretty bold statement, and
yeah,
and I think he might have a point. And when you start to see cryptocurrency and DeFi, you start to see the flaws in the dollar and the monetary system and all of that control.
yeah,
And
yeah,
look, when it comes to freedom, like I'll briefly tell our story here. I mean, I had been broadcasting for 9 years on London Real, having conversations in this studio with over nearly 1,000 people, long form, unedited, unscripted, uncensored. We'd put it all on YouTube and all the social platforms. I had a couple million subscribers, over 9,000 videos. And then one day
hmm,
last year on April 6th of 2020, I was doing a stream that strangely enough was the second largest live stream in the world that day. We had 65,000 concurrent viewers.
wow,
The biggest live stream was Trump that night doing his coronavirus briefing. That's what beat us.
mm,
And so clearly people really wanted this information. And 30 minutes
yeah,
after the episode, YouTube decided to ban it, delete it, and censor us. And that was
exactly,
that was the first time that ever happened to me. I'll be honest with you, Michael. I thought it was the weirdos and the crazy people that got censored. I didn't think it was, normal people. And that shows you how I didn't even understand
yeah,
the system. And so my
yeah,
immediate reaction was to re-upload the video and to do a vlog and to start
hmm,
complaining and getting angry. And it started a long fight we had with all the social platforms. It started our fight for free speech. It started my honestly inquisition into what it really means to have freedom of speech and to have the freedom to listen to someone else's opinion. And so we had this whole journey in 2020. We were banned and blocked by every platform: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Dropbox, PayPal.
Yeah.
Literally, the world was shutting us down. And
Wow.
I was threatening to be deplatformed, which was my entire business, 95% of my business model. And quite honestly, Michael, it was my whole life was on YouTube. Like my whole life was on there. And that was about to be deleted. So we could talk about, ownership of digital property and NFTs. That'll come later. But it was just, and it was not it was the choice of someone else that had the power.
Exactly.
And so.
Exactly.